guys, welcome to week 3. This week is all about meal planning, and a lot of it is common sense. So hopefully it'll be a lot of stuff that you can remember and things that you can do pretty easily. On the first lesson this week, you're going to get a 3-day meal plan, and you're going to get this every week from here on out. This is important for you to do because it sets you up for a lot of success throughout your week. And there's certain things you want to think about when you're making your plan. The first thing is cooking methods. The top 3 things you can use to cook are your oven, your stove, and your crock pot, and most of our CK recipes are going to use those 3 things. The next thing you can think about is bulk prepping your protein. That helps a lot, so you can make a bunch of pounds of chicken or ground beef to use in multiple recipes. So you can make 3 or 4 pounds of chicken in your crock pot, shred it up, and use it for our CK chicken enchiladas and Keller's chicken salad.
And my favorite thing about the program is that the combination doesn't matter.
That's right.
If you're anything like me, I'm not always the most prepared, but I have a prepared protein. It just might not fit with my prepared vegetable. So you get some weird food combinations. I think one time I needed to finish a fourth a cup of soup and some salad that I had and some random barbecue chicken. It didn't make sense at all, but it filled the habits.
It filled your habits, and that's what's important to think about when you're planning your meals.
And we want to give you that permission to not feel like you have to have this perfect, elaborate, paid-for meal plan. It's as simple as adding a protein and a plant.
Yeah, even if they don't make sense.
And so in order to get those proteins and the plants, you do have to go to the grocery store. And that's part of meal prepping, being able to plan it out. So it's easy to say, yes, I have time in my kitchen to start cooking, but you have to have a plan. You have to go to the grocery store, and then you have to come back and cook it. And so one of our number 1 rules that it's really hard for me to follow because I feel like I eat so often is that you should not shop hungry. When we shop hungry, we end up loading up the ice cream and the
easy stuff
and the things that we can eat immediately.
Yeah. While you're shopping, you can just eat a cookie and then pay for it when you leave.
I can't do that. Too much integrity.
I know. Mom used to let us do that all the time when we were kids. We used to always do that at the grocery store. We would open that bag of Chex Mix or whatever.
I was too. I couldn't do that. But the plan is to make a plan that fits for your schedule. Because Mary and I have talked about this so many times. We are very different. Mary is much more prepared.
Yeah. So I don't know if I'm more prepared. I'm just prepared
more
differently.
Planned.
So I plan all my meals at the beginning of the month. And I write them all down in my calendar, in my planner. And then every Wednesday, I do my grocery order. Or I make my grocery list if I'm going to go to the store. And I get my groceries on Friday. And then on Sunday, I cook everything for Monday through Friday. So I do all of my protein, all of my plants. Every once in a while, I'll have to come back and cook like a carb, like a potato or a rice. They usually don't last as long, or I don't make as much of them at a time. But yeah, I usually do all of my prep, at least my cooking, in one day for most of my meals. I cook my dinners on Mondays, but my other meals are all prepped within a couple hours.
And I wish
on
I
Sunday.
could be like that. But if you're anything like me, my schedule is very scattered. I'm at the house for a few hours here, maybe 30 minutes here, and I'm never consistently at my house long enough to just bulk prep. And so I end up kind of cooking in phases. Sunday, I do keep my freezer full of protein, and so I'll put some chicken out. I might bulk let it defrost overnight, and then Monday I cook my chicken. And then I get to dinner and I'm like, oh my goodness, okay, let me make what I have, a bag salad or something in my fridge, cut up the vegetables I'll need for the next day, and then by Tuesday, I have some sort of meal ready to throw together. This week was egg roll in a bowl, just throw it all in. 2 seconds, I have a meal. But it does cause a little bit more stress probably, but it is planned. I make the plan on Saturday night to defrost the meat and then cook it and then chop and then have something ready. And usually once I finally get to put something together, it'll last me until the weekend again. And so making sure when I go to the grocery store, I pick up easy proteins, rotisserie chickens and salads and just things I can kind of grab and go because I'm not at my home as often. So
the most important thing is to figure out what works for your schedule. What I do works for me. What Lindsay does works for her. That would never work for me because it just wouldn't. So with your meal plan, as you start doing it, it's going to get easier every week. You have to figure out what works for you. So in the beginning, the 3-day meal plan worked great for me. And then I realized I need to plan for more than 3 days at a time. But for you, 3 days may be great. If you don't like leftovers, maybe 1 day is all you want to plan for at a time. Although I think that's a lot more difficult. But But just find what works for you, and let that become your habit in your meal prep planning and prep.
So if you would like more meal prep ideas or would like to see how other clients are using meal prep, feel free to ask questions on the page. We have a big community of followers who are going to be able to answer your questions, give you suggestions, and just be able to compare different meal planning.
Because obviously everybody does it a little bit different, and something somebody else does might work really well for you.
Hope you have a great week, and feel free to ask any questions on our discussion board.